Hi everyone, this is William from the Headphone Experience. I'm here tonight with my full review of the JM Audio XTC-2 open back headphone. And this was loaned to me by JM Audio, and if you've watched my year-end reviews, my awards that I gave back in January, you will already know I really like this headphone. In fact, I gave this the award of headphone, or best headphone under $1,000, and I also gave it the Headphone of the Year award because I consider this to be the most bang for the buck, the best headphone you can get for the money. So anyway, this currently sells at $999 US, and this is a wired full-size over-the-ear dynamic driver headphone. And this one here, and there are options when you order this. You can order this with a 32 ohm driver, a 64, or I believe a 300 ohm driver, and there's actually a couple types of drivers. You can get the BioWool or the Beryllium driver, and this here happens to be a 64 ohm Beryllium driver. The driver itself is 50 millimeters in diameter, and like I already mentioned, 64 ohms, and it has a sensitivity of 113.5 decibels at 1 milliwatt. So this is a very easy to drive headphone. It takes very little power. In fact, I've got a couple of OTL tube amps, and they actually do really well with this. They drive this very easily, and any solid state amps, obviously this headphone does scale up with a better amp, but it doesn't take a lot of power. Any headphone amp you have is going to have enough power to drive this. So anyway, it weighs in at 427 pounds, which is actually kind of on the light side for a full-size headphone like this. It is, I think the ear cups are 110 millimeters in diameter, so it's actually a pretty large headphone, but 427 grams is actually a little bit lighter than the Hi-Fi Man Aria. So, and in fact, I think it's more comfortable, and I'll explain why in a minute. But this uses a detachable cable, and it has 3.5 millimeter connections at the headphone end. And I'll show you the cable because it actually comes with a really nice cable for a stock cable. It's a braided, paracord covered type cable. It's copper lit, and it has your 3.5 millimeter connections at the headphone end, and it's about 2 meters long, or I don't know, 6-7 feet, somewhere in there. I think JM Audio actually measures it in meters, even though this is a US made headphone. And this cable does have a 6.3 millimeter connection at the amp end, but I was looking at the website, and I believe you can specify either the 6.3 or a 4.4 millimeter Pentacon balanced end at the amp end, or a full-size 4-pin XLR. You do have choices, and I want to talk about that a little bit more in a minute too. But anyway, and then this is an optional cable that was sent with me, and I think if you order this at the same time as the headphone, that they actually give you a pretty good deal on it. This one happens to have a 4-pin XLR connection, and once again, your 3.5 at the headphone end. So this headphone came with 3 sets of ear pads, and I believe that's the way that if you order it, I think you get all 3 sets of ear pads. And it came with what JM Audio calls the fuzzy ear pads, which is, I don't know what this is. It's a fuzzy material on the inside. I think it's leather on the outside. And anyway, this is what came on the headphone when I got it, and I listened to it for quite a while with these ear pads, and I finally decided to try one of the others, and I tried, and I really liked it, so I didn't feel the need to try something else. But I eventually tried the sheepskin leather ear pads, which aren't fuzzy on the inside, and I actually prefer these. I really like the way it sounds with these. And then also it has these velour, they're called velour ear pads. I guess they're a velour material here on the inside and against your head. And these are supposed to give more of a neutral sound signature. I never have tried these because one of the really strong point about this headphone, it has incredible bass, and I like that, and so I was happy with what I did try. I'll probably throw these on before I send it back though and give them a try. So anyway, and then I also want to mention that this headphone comes with a really nice hard case. This is, I'm sure, impact resistance. I'm guessing I could stand on this with no problem. I didn't actually try it, but I'm sure it's dust proof, and I'd assume probably waterproof too. So really nice carry case. I think this is the lowest price headphone I've reviewed so far that does come with a hard case. I reviewed a couple of ZMF headphones that came with a nice hard case, but they're up quite a bit more expensive. So anyway, let me, I guess I'm going to roll it. Now, before I show you the headphone, I wanted to mention something. Okay, JM Audio custom builds each of these headphones to the customer. They don't just build a bunch of these, put them in a warehouse, and ship them out. I guess when you order this headphone, and it was a little bit different for me because I'm a reviewer and they just kind of sent me one to review, kind of, I guess, your average run-of-the-mill without trying to go to any extreme in tuning. But anyway, what they do is they custom tune these to each customer, and they do that by asking you a series of questions. And I don't know what the questions are, but it's, I think, depends on what type of music you're listening to, what kind of amp and DAC you're using to drive the headphone, and a lot of questions about, you know, your preferences. Do you like a bright headphone? Do you want it a little darker? Do you want more bass? Do you want less bass? Do you want it neutral? And then they custom tune the headphone to how you answer the questions. And then I guess after you receive it, they'll do one redo on the tuning, and they'll, my understanding is they pay for the shipping, or at least shipping one way or something. You can send it back and have it retuned for free. And then I guess as long, if I'm reading their website correctly, so don't hold them to this, but this is the way I interpreted it, is that if you buy this set of headphones, for the life of this headphone, you can send it back anytime if you cover the shipping costs, and they will retune it for free to, you know, get it exactly how you like it. And to be honest, it's tuned really well in my opinion. The only thing I think I would change, if someone asked me, is there anything about this headphone as far as tuning that I'd like to change? I think I would like the treble just slightly brighter, because I do lean towards liking brighter headphones. I really like Hi-Fi Man treble, and it's probably because of my age, but I like headphones that are a little bit on the bright side, and these are tuned, they're a little more tame than Hi-Fi Man. They don't have that real bright treble. So if you're considering Hi-Fi Man but you're afraid of that bright treble, this is definitely a direction you might want to go. At least check these out. So anyway, I'll roll in and give you a closer look, and you can also see it on the monitor behind me. But this, you can see they've got wooden ear cups, and this is not a plastic ear cup with a wooden veneer. This is actually machined out of a solid piece of wood. And the grills, I'm not sure what the material is on the grills here. They look similar to the older Hi-Fi Man grills, but a little bit different. And then you've got your yokes that swivel this way. They have clicks, they adjust this way. Steel spring, and then you've got, I think this is real leather, this head strap here, and just about the right amount of tension on this, enough clamping force that they don't feel like they're going to fall off, but not too much that is squeezing your head. You can see the ear cups are, or the ear pads are tapered, and these ear pads here are real sheepskin leather. They're very soft, and I believe all of them use memory foam. You can usually tell by how when you push them in, they come out kind of slow when they're memory foam. But very, very comfortable. Like I said, these headphones are actually a little on the light side for full size. And these are probably up there with the most comfortable headphones I've ever heard or ever worn. They just feel like they're not even there. I mean, there's just not any clamping force, but yet they don't want to fall off when I lean forward. The ear pads are super soft and comfortable. The sides, there's plenty of room for my ears, and just extremely comfortable. I mentioned Hi-Fi Man a few minutes ago, and I reviewed several Hi-Fi Man headphones, and to be honest, the tall egg-shaped ear cups on those ride low on my jaw, and I've got some issues with TMJ, especially in the right side of my jaw. And the longer, taller ear cups kind of aggravate that, and these don't at all. I can wear these for hours without any fatigue comfort-wise. What didn't I show you? I didn't show you they've got these 3.5 millimeter connectors on each ear cup, and they kind of angle forward, so they actually kind of sit back a ways, but they angle forward and down, and just, you can see this has got, I'm not sure what kind of wood this is, but it's got a nice like clear coat finish on it, like a polyurethane, and it's actually a really nice looking headphone. So before I get into my description of the sound, I did want to mention the equipment I use, because I feel the equipment is very important in reviewing a headphone or a DAC or an amp, whatever, because I've seen so many times where someone is super critical of a headphone, and then you find out they were running it off of like the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack off of their laptop computer, or off of their, you know, their tablet or something like that, or got it plugged into a phone, and not properly amplifying the headphone, or just not having a proper DAC. You know, I mean, I've heard people criticize a headphone and say the highs are really harsh, and then find out that they're using the amp and DAC that's built into their computer instead of decent equipment. Or I've seen people bash a $4,000 headphone. It turns out they were using a $200 amp that wasn't on the same level. So I do, especially in my full reviews, want to tell what equipment I use, so you know, if you can expect the same kind of sound out of the equipment you have. So anyway, I'll start with my source. Most of my listening was done with a Cambridge Audio CD transport, running a digital signal into one of several different DACs, or my other source was my HP desktop computer, which I'm using Windows Media Player out of Windows 10, and I'm listening to CDs that were ripped in WAV lossless format. And then the DACs I used one of the primary headphone amps and DACs I used listening to this headphone was the iFi Pro IDSD Signature combination DAC amp, which I love, but I just sent it back. It just went back to iFi, and that was one of the hardest things I've had to send back, because I really love that. But anyway, it's time for it to go back and something new to come out. So anyway, also the Audio GD R8 MK2 DAC, which is an R2R DAC, and then quite a bit of listening with the Topping E50 DAC and the Topping D70 Pro DAC that I just got in last week. I tried it with that, and that works excellent. So, and then headphone amps, I use the Audio GD Master 9, the Felix Audio Echo, and the Felix Audio Elise, which are two different OTL tube amps from Felix Audio, and this headphone sounds incredible on those. I think possibly my favorite amp with this was the Felix Audio Elise, but it's almost as good with the Echo at half the price. Anyway, I also use the Hi-Fi Man EF400 combination amp DAC, and this also sounds excellent with the Waveborn Power Amp Plus, which is a transformer coupled tube amp. And then, like I said a minute ago, I just got in last week new equipment, the Topping A70 Pro DAC and the D70 Pro amp. I got that backwards. The A70 Pro is the amp, and then the D70 Pro is the DAC. Very nice stack from Topping with exceptional measurements and a ton of power. And this headphone though sounds good with everything I tried it with. So even for quite a while I was using the Topping E50 and L50 stack, and those just went back about a week ago, but that's a $369 stack total, the two units, and excellent and super clean, super detailed, and works excellent with this headphone. And once again, more than enough power. So anyway, getting into the sound. How would I describe this headphone? I would describe it as warm, rich, and bassy. It's not really what I would consider a neutral headphone. If you're looking for something dead neutral, this probably isn't the headphone, but it may be, because I didn't try the velour pads, which are supposed to give it a neutral sound. And with custom tuning, I'm guessing it is possible to get this very neutral sounding. So I take that back. Maybe this is still the headphone for you. But anyway, it has a very warm mid-range. It's lush. It's liquid. It's beautiful. It just has a beautiful sound. Never ever sounds dry, sterile, or boring. You know, it's got, everything has body to it. This headphone has some serious body to the music, serious weight to it. So anyway, I'll start with the bass. The bass has excellent extension down into the sub bass, very powerful mid bass with a lot of weight, and the bass is very tight and well controlled. Probably the best bass I've heard from any headphone. I've heard a few with more bass, but not as perfectly well controlled as this headphone. The bass never sounds muddy, never sounds distorted, and it doesn't bleed into the mid-range and cover up you know, the music in the lower mid-range, which a lot of bass-heavy headphones do. The mids, once again, warm, rich, lush. All vocals, male and female, both sound great, but especially female vocals, they just have a seductive sound to them. It's just, and it just sounds like they're right there. Like I'm just hearing the person singing to me personally. The treble, very clean and detailed, sparkly, but not too bright. It's not Hi-Fi Man bright. It's tamed down a little bit. And once again, I don't know how far the treble can be adjusted as far as custom tuning. I would prefer just slightly brighter, but it's but very clean treble, and definitely not fatiguing. And those of you that are sensitive to real bright headphones, this may be perfect for you, because the treble's there. Nothing's lacking. It's just a little bit more tame than something like a Hi-Fi Man. Details. excellent details, up there with some of the very best headphones. The detail, the resolution, clarity is outstanding on this headphone. And I'm going to make a few comparisons in a couple minutes that will give you an idea of what I'm comparing it to and how detailed this actually is. Sound stage is very, very wide in this headphone. One of the widest sound stages I've heard. Not super tall, but good. Not exceptionally deep, but good, but really, really wide. The imaging is very pinpoint, very clean. The separation between instruments is very, very good. The instruments all have their separate location. I never hear any overlap or any blurring together of the instruments. So I do want to compare this to a few headphones. So I'm going to start with the LSA HP2 Ultra, which is slightly cheaper. I think that's about a $700 or $800 headphone, but a couple of years ago that was my headphone of the year, and I love that headphone. Compared to this, okay, the HP2 Ultra, its strong points are exceptional sub bass and exceptional detail and clarity. Okay, this matches both of those. This has similar, really deep, excellent sub bass, and this has just as much detail as the HP2, but it does it in a much warmer, richer way. Compared to this, the HP2, the mid-range sounds kind of dry and almost sterile. This is much richer and much more lush, but doesn't give up any detail to the HP2. This also has a lot more weight to the mid bass than the HP2 does. So this is a bassy headphone. This is a headphone that, unless you are an extreme bass head, I'm sure you will be satisfied with the bass on this, because, like I said, this headphone has some serious bass, but it's very clean, it's very well controlled, and it doesn't overwhelm the rest of the frequency range. So my next comparison, the Aria Stealth version. Okay, the Aria Stealth was a $1,600 headphone. You can now get it for, I believe, $899. So it puts it pretty close, actually slightly below this in price. Okay, compared to the Aria Stealth, its strong points are exceptional clarity and detail. The one thing it did lose from the original Aria is it lost some of that exceptional soundstage width. It's a lot more narrow. Okay, so this compared to the Aria Stealth, I would put the level of detail at about equal between the two. Both very, very detailed. This has a little bit more warmth and richness to the mid-range, and this definitely has more weight to both the bass and the sub-bass. It is more bassy than the Aria Stealth, and I actually think it's more comfortable. Just slightly lighter, but the round ear cups and much better ear pads make it much more comfortable to me. So I do put this above the Aria Stealth, and the Aria Stealth was very close to becoming my headphone of the year, under $1,000, and this came in at the last minute in December and beat it out. I would pick this over the Aria Stealth. Okay, the next headphone I'm comparing this to is the Aria Organic, which I just got in about a month ago, and I have compared the two pretty extensively. Okay, and I really like the Aria Organic. I think it's the best of all the Arias so far. It has the richer, better sound of the Aria Stealth combined with the width of the original. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Compared to the Aria Stealth, this has much better soundstage width, a lot wider than the Aria Stealth. Okay, so back to the Aria Organic. Okay, I would give the Aria Organic just a slight edge in detail over this headphone. Just slightly, a little bit more detail in the mid-range. Where this beats out the Aria Organic is this definitely, even though the Aria Organic is the most bassy Hi-Fi Man I've heard so far in their higher end headphones of the Anandas, of the Arias, of the HEs. The Aria Organic is the most bassy, but this still has more bass and better bass than the Aria Organic. Okay, this is also easier to drive, and soundstage width I would say is pretty close. So I give the advantage to this over the Aria Organic. The JM Audio has more weight to the bass and better bass, and I would just give a slight edge to the Aria Organic as far as detail. The Aria Organic and the Aria Stealth both are quite a bit brighter than this. So if you're worried about too bright of treble, this is more tame. The treble's still there, it's just a little more tame than any of the Hi-Fi Man headphones. Okay, so I would, if I had to pick one, the Aria Stealth, the Aria Organic or this headphone, it's kind of a tie to me. They both have qualities I really like. This is more comfortable to me, and actually, I would say I lean a little bit towards this, even over the Aria Organic, which is an incredible headphone. So that's how good this headphone is and how much I like it. I would actually give this a slight edge over the Aria Organic. Okay, then I compared this to the Hi-Fi Man HE-1000 Stealth. Oh, and I forgot to mention that the Aria Organic does sell for $12.99, so it's $300 more expensive than this headphone, and this headphone comes with a lot nicer cable stock. And Hi-Fi Man isn't going to custom tune your headphones, so, but don't get me wrong, I love Hi-Fi Man headphones, so I think they're doing a great job, but in this one category, this headphone happened to beat out Hi-Fi Man. So anyway, the last headphone I compared this to is the HE-1000 Stealth from Hi-Fi Man, which used to be a $3,000 headphone. It's now $13.99, so it is $400 more expensive than this. It does beat this headphone out a little bit in detail and speed. The transitions, the transients are a little bit faster on the HE-1000 Stealth. Just a little more detail. Where this wins out is this has more bass, better extension into the sub bass, more weight to the sub bass and mid bass, and it's just a more bassy headphone. And if you're listening, the music I really like that extra bass with is classic rock, because most classic rock doesn't have a whole lot of sub bass. It has more mid bass, and that extra weight to the mid bass, that punch, just really, to me, adds a lot of life to classic rock. But this is also excellent for pop. It's excellent for electronic music. I was listening to old Nine Inch Nails the other night. Pretty Hate Machine from, when did that come out? Back in the early 90s, I think. And I don't think I've ever heard it sound as good as I did with this headphone. This headphone just, the bass was just so intense, and just loved it. It sounded so good. And I listened to a lot of 80s new wave that had a lot of bass in the music, and this headphone just makes it sound great. I mean, I'm going back and listening to 80s new wave, and it's just sounding the best I've heard it in years. So anyway, so back to my comparison of the HE-1000 Stealth. The Hi-Fi Man wins out a little bit in detail, a little bit in speed. This wins out in just more bass, more weight to the bass, and it's kind of a draw between the two. I can't say that I could really pick which is my favorite. The HE-1000 Stealth is an incredible headphone, but it is $400 more. So if I was going to buy one, I would save my $400 and go this direction. But I don't want to say anything bad about the HE-1000 Stealth because it is a great headphone, and you know, but like I said, that $400, that's a lot of money. So I would consider it sort of a tie, but at $400 less, that's why this won Headphone of the Year. So instead of the HE-1000 Stealth. So anyway, that is that sums up my comparisons. Bottom line, still, I feel the same way as I did, what, 2 months ago in January, February, March, yeah, 2 months ago when I did my year-end reviews. I called this the best headphone that I've heard under $1,000. I still feel that way. And I called this Headphone of the Year, most bang for the buck. And I still think this is the best headphone for the price of $999. $999 isn't a cheap headphone, but this headphone is up there in endgame territory. This is competing with headphones that most people consider endgame. This is a really good headphone, and I'm not going to get into specifics, but this headphone beats out some headphones up in the $2,000, even $3,000 range that I've reviewed. So an incredible headphone. I highly recommend it. I mean, if I had a scale, a list of recommendations, you know, kind of recommend, sort of recommend, really recommend, this is up there at the top. I highly recommend this headphone. I love it, and hoping I don't have to send it back right away, because hoping maybe for maybe a little bit of a longer term loan, and I can hang on to this a little bit for comparisons to other headphones. So I'll have to talk to JM Audio about that. So anyway, that sums it up. Great headphone, really good price, not cheap, but you are getting a headphone that might be, very well could be your endgame headphone, and you're never gonna feel the need to buy another headphone. Once again, this is William from the Headphone Experience. If this video helped you, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And once again, thanks for watching my video.